Facebook is because you never know when you're live, when you're not live. It says we're live now, so we can't say anything bad now.
Okay, I'm good. I'm like Facebook Live all day, so it's like
Me both.
I'm a queen of the internet now.
I feel like I'm having my best life, but I need to have a vacation from it.
I know, I'm taking a day off tomorrow, which sounds crazy, but I am, because actually tomorrow's my day off.
I was supposed to shoot another a pilot show tomorrow with Tanya Roberts, and I was like, can't do it. Can't do it.
I had a day off Tuesday, and I'm having a day off tomorrow. I mean, I have stuff to do, but not the endless camera.
Yes.
I'm having days. Everybody else is home and saying, oh, I never wear makeup and I don't do my hair. I'm doing full drag makeup and hair every day and getting dressed up. So I actually am scheduling days to not wear makeup or have to do my hair.
I adore it. All right, we are live. I'm going to do what I do. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Mike Pingel Show. What a great title, I must say. Today, yes, love her. Yes, we've got her. Here on the Mike Pingel Show, yes, today, the wonderful, talented Becky Daniels.
Indeed, indeed.
No, I'm sorry. Talented and thoughtful and loving Alison Arngrim.
Arngrim.
What did I say? Arngrim. I told you I was going to say. I knew. I'm the worst. But I got to tell you, today I was doing, I got up. You've been on my mind all day today. So I was, doing the internet stuff. And I found that you were on Aaron Spelling's Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Yes, yes.
I'm obsessed with your character on the Love Boat.
Are you? Because it was hilarious. Yes. So, as I said, in the 70s, if you were on a TV show in the 1970s, you had to do Love Boat and Fantasy Island. It was the law. It was like sort of some like court-ordered program where you had to appear on both shows. Oh, Bob's coming home. It's okay. It's just Mike Pingel.
Bob's
hi. He says hi.
Hi, Bob.
Bob just came to the door, so that's cool. Yeah, you had to be in Love Boat and Fantasy Island. It was sort of like, it was like a court-ordered public service. So everybody from Little House has an episode of Fantasy Island or of Love Boat or both. I did both. And it was crazy because I was a hooker on Fantasy Island, but I was evil child star Becky Daniels on the Love Boat, and it was awesome.
It was
Tony
fantastic.
Tennille was on the show. I got to hang out with Tony Tennille.
I don't understand why Aaron didn't spin that off as an actual show itself.
Which
the Love Boat one with your character.
Like you could have had a Becky Daniels show. You could.
Right?
You totally could have. And Aunt Gert, Nancy Culp, played my aunt from Nancy Culp from the Beverly Hillbillies. Come along, Becky.
How was it working with her? She was iconic television even then.
Incredible. I was so impressed. First of all, I was a fan. I'd seen Beverly Hillbillies, which sort of, but she was a real, seriously trained professional actress who had gotten famous for this goofy part. But yeah, she was very grand. She did not suffer fools. And she'd tell you, she'd give you what for and tell you what she thought. And I loved her immediately. And we wound up hitting it off. And she was just like the greatest thing. I was like following her around going, it's Nancy Culp. I love you. But yeah, she was so cool. And I was like, Aunt Gert, keep that little twerp away from me. I was just wonderfully evil. And Jill Whelan, she got me the job. This is the crazy Love Boat story. So Captain Stewart's daughter, little Jill Whelan. So they had like meetings on Love Boat with the writers, with the actors, get together and talk about upcoming episodes and stuff. And they would say, well, I think this and I think that. And every now and then they could offer suggestions. And even though she was a kid, she's like, they said, yeah. She said, this thing about this Becky Daniels, this ex-child star. And they're, yeah. She said, you've called Alison Arngrim, right? The girl who played Nellie Oleson on Little House of the Prairie. You've like called her, haven't you? And they went, and she said, look, she was friends with Melissa Gilbert. She goes, I go to school with Melissa Gilbert. She was going to Buckley with Melissa Gilbert. So she'd already heard about me. And she said, look, I've heard about her from Melissa Gilbert. She's really cool and really nice to work with. And I really want to work with her. And besides, it's a gimme. Come on, Nellie Oleson, Becky Daniels. But what are you, crazy? And they went, oh my God, you're right. And they called my agent. And so Jill Whelan told them, ordered the producers to hire me. And they did. So I love her.
I love it. I love it. It should have been a show. It should have been a show.
A spin-off Becky Daniel with Nancy Cole. Yes, with everyone who was, yeah.
I can see it. I can see it's just still today. It could happen. Now, you read every day the books of Little House on the Prairie. How did you come up with that? Because you were one of the first ones to think of something like that. How did that come to you?
I know everyone's reading everything now. Although I think Patrick Stewart was doing a Shakespeare sonnet a day around the same time or first. I don't know. He's pretty smart. Totally crazy. I was sitting home and I was just talking to someone about this thing. When this hit, my husband, but we were all horrified. Everyone's just kind of going, well, this is awful. Now what do we do? His job got declared essential. Although it was really crazy. The first week he'd like go into work and they go, well, some people are going home and some people are staying on, but we don't know who yet. Oh, no, wait, we're shutting it all down. You're going home. No, wait, no, we're not. It's infrastructure. It's essential. And this went on for like days. He said, I don't know. I'm just going to go down there until they tell me to, like, not to. And it worked out that it was essential and some people could work from home and he was working there, but it's like, it's all locked down. It's just him and the tiny group of people who work there and the doors are closed and they're all very sanitized and masked. But so it's like, yay, he still has a job. So we're not going to starve. And I watched the calendar go blank. I was doing RuPaul's Drag Con in LA. I was doing my show in New York at the Laurie Beachman. I was going to like multiple autograph shows and events. Oh, the Cherry Blossom Festival in Missouri. It's awesome. I mean, everything. And it's just like ding, 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 as they were all dancing. And I had all my bonnets and books and stuff I bought to go to the shows and everything. And I mean, I had luggage and airfare. I bought a ticket to New York. I had airfare and everything. So I'm sitting there going, okay, all of my jobs just disappeared in a big puff of smoke. This is, I don't know if, how many, my friends were getting sick. I know people have been hospitalized. So that's all happening. And it's like, oh, am I going to get this? Am I going to get sick? Am I going to die? Oh, I have no job. And everything I do for a living or creatively involves large crowds of people. And I saw my friends on Facebook really like getting depressed. A lot of artists, a lot of really great performers going on Facebook going, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, this is horrible. I got to do something. And I did not know what to do. And, I had downloaded the books on my Kindle recently. And of course I had the old wonderful 1970s edition. And I thought, I'm going to go back and read the books. I've read them. I read them a long time ago. Like right after I got the show, I started reading them. And over the years, I have read them. But it's been eons. I've reread like On the Banks of Plum Creek and Little Town on the Prairie. But I have not read most of the books in years. And I've never sat down and read them in order. And I don't know how many people have done that. Because it's like, she wrote like 9 books. Because it's Little House in the Big Woods. And it's like Farmer Boy, and then Little House on the Prairie, and then now we're on By the Shores of Silver Lake, and then it's Long Winter, and da, da, da. I'd never done that. Wow. I wasn't even going to go on Facebook Live. I was going to sit in my living room and like as a meditative exercise, and maybe I would be inspired because Laura Ingalls is very inspired. I will read these books. And then I thought, well, everyone else is bored and terrified and feeling bad. Maybe I'll go on Facebook and just read aloud and people will enjoy this. And then I said, I have all these bonnets laying around the house, so I'll get dressed up, put on my mascara and everything, and I'll wear a bonnet and read the books. So I, got to put my phone on a tripod on the coffee table and got set up and was like, once upon a time, there was a little girl in the big woods, and people went nuts. People were like, this is the best thing ever. They tuned in droves.
They still do. And you did bring bonnets back.
I brought back bonnets single-handedly. I started reading and I was like, each day I was like, hey, this is really relaxing. This is fun. And eventually I set a time. It's 1:30 now. First time I did it, I know it was like 3. And I said, okay, tomorrow at 2. I have no idea what's happening. And sometimes I'll have to go on Facebook and go, guys, I'm going to be late. I have a thing. But generally it's 1:30. And I thought, well, this will be fun. And, she's wrote a lot of books. I can keep this up indefinitely. And I started doing it. And then I looked and, people, they share the video when you put it on Facebook and other people look at, and I look and the first one has 60,000 views. And I was like, wait, what is happening? And like 40,000 here and 20,000. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I said, oh, I have an online store. Because, I have the square thing you use at autograph shows on your phone, a little square. And I have a little online store. You can buy my book or what. And I said, and I have bonnets. And suddenly I have like 50 orders for bonnets. what is going on? And so I had to call Walnut Grove, Minnesota, the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum. They have a shop, and go, can you get me more bonnets? And they're thrilled because, Bob just said, and another box just arrived. So they're in stock. I know I was out of stock. We're rioting.
Stock, people, buy them now.
Literally, the box just arrived. So I have to count them, and then, yeah, it was so crazy. So they all wanted bonnets, and I had to call them. And of course they were thrilled because, and I just heard from the nice people in Mansfield, Missouri, because there's Laura Ingalls Wilder's real sites in DeSmet, South Dakota, and Mansfield, Missouri, and Walnut Grove, Minnesota. And they have gift shops, and they have online stores. You can buy little tin cups and things from them. But they're closed because they're a museum, and they would be opening and having their Prairie pageants and their things. They can't do that. So they're shut down, except people can buy stuff from their online store. So suddenly I'm telling people to go to their stores and buy the tin cups and buy the bonnets. And then I'm buying crates of their bonnet and autographing them and selling them to people autographed. And it just got out of control. And so I'm like, there's a bunch of women in Walnut Grove, Minnesota, furiously sewing bonnets, and they can hardly keep up with the demand. But yeah, this is what I'm doing now. I read Little House on the Prairie and sell bonnets all day.
I think it's brilliant.
So much fun. And then it's escalated. So then I started doing, I'd never done those cameos, the thing you go on your phone, you go, hi, happy birthday, Aunt Susie. I started doing those, and that also like exploded. Apparently Mother's Day, everybody wanted Nellie Oleson to wish their mother a happy Mother's Day, and my phone blew up. And then Living on a Prairie is happening, and Little House on the Prairie has been like gone viral on Twitter. It was like there's all this stuff happening where because we had an episode called Plague and an episode called Quarantine. So suddenly there's an article in the New York Times about how Little House on the Prairie was prophetic.
Wow.
We're trending on Twitter because people they're rediscovering it. Really, really young people are now going back because they're home and they're binge watching, and it's on Amazon and everything. They're binge watching Little House. They're going, I didn't know the show dealt with like racism and sexism and child abuse and alcoholism and what? And they're freaking out and finding these episodes, and they're going on Twitter and going, oh wow, Little House is really heavy. And so it's exploding. It's exploding. And I'm just sitting here going, I don't know. I'm reading chapter tomorrow. I have guest reads. No, Dean Butler, the gorgeous Manzo. He just read all of Farmer Boy. We just turned him loose on Farmer Boy. And then he read most of Farmer Boy. And then I had him read the other day. He was brilliant. And he said, oh, I get to read The Long Winter because Almanzo comes back in that. You have to let me read part of The Long Winter. And Baby Grace is reading tomorrow. It's a big chapter with a lot of Baby Grace in it. So Wendy Luley, who's Baby Grace, will be reading tomorrow while I go.
Oh, nice. So you can have more cocktails.
So I can moisturize, but yes, while I'm not on TV here, like making myself.
What have you learned while reading the books? Have you learned something new?
Yes, hugely. One, they're a lot heavier than people think. They were believed to be, and people think of them as being targeted towards like 8-9-year-old girls. Yeah, Little House in the Big Woods. Yeah, Little House in the Big Woods reads like a book for 8-year-old girls. They're in the forest. It's so cute, and Maud's making cheese and the thing. But then, and Farmer Boy's all about food because Laura's family was very poor, and Almanzo's family was quite well off, had a very prosperous farm. And Laura, who'd always like gone hungry for years at a time, loved hearing Almanzo's story about how much food they had. And so it's just like this endless description of everything he's eating. It's hysterical. But you start getting into Little House on the Prairie and By the Shores of Silver Lake, things get rough. I mean, you get people, the whole family almost dies of malaria. Then they all get scarlet fever and Mary goes blind. The dog dies. They have several major disease outbreaks and almost die. Laura or Pa or one of Pa's relatives in a flashback story almost gets eaten by wolves, a panther, several bears. It's like wild animals are constantly almost eating people. And then there's the whole Native American issue because they go to Homestead and go oopsie-daisy and build their house completely on the wrong side of the line. And they're getting conflicting information. The government's going, oh, no, we're moving the Native American tribe off of that land, the Osage, and you can have it. Oh, wait, no, wrong. You're completely in the wrong place, and we're moving them back, and you need to move. And Ma is very, very anti-Native American. Ma is really freaked out, has heard stories about the massacres, and is very distraught. And she's constantly popping off with, like, the racist statements. But the weird part is, Laura, little tiny Laura, who shouldn't even be arguing with her parents in the 1800s, argues with her mother, as does Pa, and keeps saying, no, Ma, you're wrong. The Native Americans are lovely people, and don't you remember that guy who saved our lives last winter, and blah, 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 blah. And they keep talking about how the Native Americans, and Laura keeps saying, but you said it was Indian territory. That means it's their land. Why are we here, Ma? And it gets really, really difficult. There's like all these really serious questions, and Laura keeps bringing up the fact, but you said that the government told them they have a treaty and it's their land, so why are we making them move? And the parents are like, go to bed, Laura. And Laura's like an activist for Native American land rights, and her ma is like screamingly hostile to them. And Pa's like, no, remember they brought us food. They're cool. And it gets heavy. And then they're at the railroad camp, and there's people who are drinking and gambling and fighting, and they almost kill the paymaster. And then there's some more wolves who almost eat them. It's like, this is not for children. What am I reading here? It's heavy. It's heavy stuff. Some of it is for children, but they came out in the 30s. And I think they started to be for older kids. So like the first couple books, like, Big Woods and Farmer Boy, you can read to your kids, but I would read the others first. And they're historical novels. So they're not 100% historically accurate. They're not 100% Laura's life. Because like Laura changed timelines. She's like, well, let's do the one about Kansas. Yeah, you were 2 in Kansas. So you don't actually remember any of that because you were 8 when you were in the other 10. So she just goes, oh, I'm 8 in Kansas now. And like, and mixes with the whole timeline that's all wrong. But they're really interesting reading because you start reading this and going, how did the Ingalls survive? They almost die like every 10 pages. They're either starving or freezing, or someone's trying to kill them, or animals are trying to eat them, something, or a horrible disease has struck them. They are constantly under threat of starvation, prairie fire, flooding, hurricane, blizzard, starvation, constantly. They almost die every 10 pages. The whole family is almost completely wiped out every 10 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what's the difference between what the TV series did and what actually was in the books? Was there any of that, or was there just a trickle of that in the TV series?
A little. In the TV series, we did a lot of very 1970s themes, like there was an episode because they started making, as Michael Landon once said, there's an entire chapter in here on how to make an apple fritter. I'm not filming that. The books spend pages long, lingering descriptions of the sky. Laura gets up and watches every single sunrise and every single sunset and talks about each of them for like 5 pages and then the sky turned purple and then the stars. And so, a lot of descriptive things. So we started just making stuff up on Little House, and Michael really liked it. They went with the book on the banks of Plum Creek when they go to Walnut Grove, because there's a town and there's a school and there's a teacher and people and a church. So it's like, okay, you can build on that for a TV show. But like in the show, Mr. Hanson, who has the mill, is a huge character. Oh, the Hanson's Mill, Mr. Hanson, Lars Hanson, great actor. And he's not in the book. In the book, Mr. Hanson sells a house, the little house by the creek, to Pa, and then leaves. That's it. Johnny Johnson was a cute boy on the show that Laura and Nellie fight over. Johnny Johnson herds the cows, and he only speaks Norwegian and doesn't even speak English, and appears on like a couple pages. So there's these characters that kind of go poof, like Mr. Edwards is in one book, and then they have no idea what happens to him. He just leaves. So people appear and then disappear, whereas they were there for like 9 years on the show. They decided this is a great character. Fine, he's going to speak English and he's going to be a major character, and we're like keeping him. And so that's weird. And then there's characters in the book that don't show up in the show because, I don't know, they weren't exciting. We did 70s things. We did there's a drug addiction episode that was sort of a play on how a lot of people were coming back from the Vietnam War and were addicted to heroin. And so they had an episode where a soldier coming back from the Civil War is addicted to morphine and is in Warrow, staying with his mom, and tragedy ensues. So we would do a lot of that kind of thing. Hence that we had episodes dealing with autism and poverty and abuse and drug and everything you can imagine.
And how did first off, how did you get the role of Nellie, and did you think that she's going to get nice at some point, or were you just initially going to be?
I was surprised that she got. She doesn't get nice in the books. I was surprised that she got nice on the show because I was so awful. I was a child actor, and I'd done a movie and some TV shows, and I was auditioning for like everything, to the point that I literally auditioned for the part of Laura, the part of Mary, because it was like the search for Scarlett O'Hara for 8-year-olds. Everybody auditioned for the part of Laura. But I go, oh, they made a pilot. Oh, they're making the show. Books. I'd never read the books. I was like, la, 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 la. No idea. And then they call me back, and I get the pages, and there's some character, Nellie Oleson. No idea. And I start reading it, and that's when I turned to my dad, who was with me, and I said, this is not normal. This girl's a total bitch. And my father starts laughing and says, read it. And I start reading it, and he's dying of laughter. He goes, don't touch it. Don't read it again. Don't rehearse it. Just don't even look at it. Just go in and do it like that. And I went in, and there's Michael Landon and Kent McRae and Ed Farley. And I read it, and they proceed to lose their minds laughing. And they're laughing and laughing. It's the famous, my home is the best home in all of Walnut Grove. We have real curtains on all the windows. And they're like cracking up, and they said, could you do it again? And I said, oh yes, did you want me to change something? And they said, no, this is read the thing about the house again. And I was hired on the spot. And that was it. And then each episode, it seemed like, I would go further, and then they would write an episode where she was worse, and I go, it was like, I'll see you that and raise you pretending to be paralyzed in a wheelchair. And it just got nuttier and nuttier. And so I was actually shocked when they married me off.
Amazing. Hey, how many times did you push Laura Ingalls? Is there a count?
I don't, I bet Melissa Gilbert knows. She's like weird like that. Like she can remember like episode number 42 and the director was in the original shoot date. And I'm like, hey, you're crazy. I can't remember that. I don't know if we've kept count. I bet she's kept count. Because okay, Country Girls, right off the bat, we had a fight there. And then we had multiple fist fights or pushing or shoving. And then she pushed me down the hill in the wheelchair. And then the great mud fight in the back to school episode, which was a long drawn out dynasty, Linda Evans, Joan Collins kind of thing. But we did.
Well, when I was digging deep today in your past, you talked about Sean Penn passing out.
Yes.
Can you
Sean Penn's, because Sean Penn's dad is a famous director.
Yes.
And he was directing an episode of Little House on the Prairie. So Sean was kind of hanging out, and basically, technically, he was an extra. He did not have lines. It was the voice of Tinker Jones about the deaf mute man who makes the bell for the church. It's a great episode. All the children donate their metal toys, and he melts them down. He makes a bell. Yeah. And Sean Penn is this gangly blonde teenage boy hanging out. But again, he did me a solid, as they say. I had been fainting from the heat because it was like 1,000,000 degrees in Simi Valley in the summer where we filmed. It's like 100 dead in the shade. And then they had lights on us, and then we're wearing petticoats and a wig and horrifying. So I was like every first day of summer I would pass out. And they were starting to think there was something the matter with me, that I was a wimp. And it was really that but Sean Penn had the decency to absolutely pass out. I mean, he went down. I mean, I was like, I think I'm going to faint. Sean Penn went and just fell over like a tree. And he didn't get up. I mean, I passed out. They'd give me salt tablets and break the ammonia into my nose, and a half hour later back at work. No, he was out for the rest of the day. It's just like they could not even wake him up. So after that, the producer said, well, the big teenage boy just blacked out completely. And then one of the directors later in the episode fell over, and they were like, maybe it's hot. Maybe it's not just her. Maybe it's actually that hot. So yes, Sean Penn, by completely tipping over, revealed the fact that it was not just me. It was really like horribly hot.
That's fantastic. Now you're in the upcoming new series called Living on the Prairie. Can you tell us a little bit about your character in that?
living on a prairie. It's this crazy thing. So Pamela Bob is this Broadway actress, and she's amazing. And I met her, and then one day she says, I think I want to write a web series. I was like, what? But then she sends me this thing, and I'm laughing so hard, I'm sobbing. It's about this woman who is completely obsessed with Little House on the Prairie. Like, she's having trouble maintaining relationships because her brain just goes straight to Little House on the Prairie no matter what you ask her. And it's hysterical. She's totally obsessed. And I play her life coach therapist. She finally realizes, her friends tell her, you need to get help. She has to get help. But she's a little cheap, she's a little broke. So she gets a life coach who she meets at a breakfast cafe instead of like a real shrink. So I'm a little sketchy life coach. But I seriously sit her down and talk to her about like, what are you getting out of this show? Why Little House on the Prairie? And it's hysterical because it's all the questions of why would you be obsessed with this and not something else? And what are you getting out of this? What does this mean? What are these characters? Why do they affect you more than something else? And it's actually sort of fascinating. And she's just like sobbing, hysterical. She doesn't really get better. She doesn't. Also, Charlotte Stewart, who played Miss Beadle on Little House, plays a heavily tattooed bartender. So there's fabulous cameos, but It's this hilarious vignette of this woman trying to navigate life, get a boyfriend, get a date, and then there's like revealed that like other people are secretly Little House on the Prairie fans, but like can't talk about it. It gets really nutty. There's a meeting of Bonnetheads Anonymous. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, how was it putting all your memories into your Confessions of a Prairie Bitch? I mean, how was it for you to sit down and just combine it?
Well, people have been telling me that I should write a book since, I was like, 8. They were like, you're writing this down because your life is really wacko. And I was making notes going, future self, when you write a book, don't forget to put this one in. And then finally, what happened was I was doing my one-woman show. I'd been doing stand-up, and then I started doing a one-woman comedy show that with all true stories, which was a big hit. I started doing that in New York, and people went nuts. And they went, oh, the real stories work. So that became a thing. And then I met a fabulous literary agent, Kent D. Wolf, in New York. And he said, is there a book to go with this show? And I was like, there could be. And I proceeded to bang out some chapters. I had a couple chapters. I said, do you have 4 chapters? Like, yes. And next thing I know, I'm in meetings with publishers. And then I had to write like the rest of it, which is really hard and takes a really long time. And I did. I put in everything. It was like my life before Little House, my life after, and how kind of all roads led to the prairie, that like no matter how I wanted to do anything, everything winds up coming back to Little House on the Prairie and somehow is related to Little House on the Prairie. And my life was so weird beforehand that I had to have wound up being Nellie Oleson. It was like fate. It's like, what else would I possibly have done except turned out to be Nellie Oleson?
Exactly. Now, you were, I read that you were doing the Confessions on Stage It. Are you going to do more of those for people to watch?
Yes. Wonderful news, because I did it. Like I said, we're all learning all this new tech. I'd never done a Zoom until this happened. I'd done like 1 or 2 Facebook Lives. Now I'm Facebook Live every day. I can't count how many Zooms. I'm on so many platforms. I'm learning. I just joined TikTok, so that's going to get weird. I'm on everything. And then the guys in New York at Spin Cycle, who booked the show with Lori Beachman, said, hey, bummer on the show being canceled, but look, there's this thing called Stage It, and we're looking at a lot of our cabaret acts and drag queens and what have you coming in and doing this online thing. And I went, all right, okay. And next thing I know, we got a backdrop and lighting, like a whole studio set up in the living room. I oddly happen to own an antique wheelchair that looks just like the one from the show. So for the sight gag at the end of the act, yes, I just wheeled myself in from the kitchen. So we did it. We did it in the living room twice. And Thursday, June 25th. 25th? It's the Thursday yes, that's the 25th of June on a Thursday. I will do it again. And we'll have because I do a Q&A, so we'll have new questions. We'll work out some new stuff. But I'll put the backdrop back up there and fire up the laptop, and we will go on Stage It again in June.
Nice. Now, are you still doing your podcast, the podcast?
Every Tuesday, the Alison Arngrim Show goes live at 5. And that was another thing. It was like, I was looking over, I was like, oh man. And first the station said, well, where it started that down at the radio station, they were like, well, people are coming in. We've totally like sterilized the place and we're like limiting how many people we think we, and then they were like, no, nobody wants to come in. And then I called like a couple of guests I had and they were like, no, are you crazy? Click, click. And so I said, I don't think we're going in. And then they called me back and said, we've got Zoom. We're bringing the show. Do you want to do your show? Because we can put it on Zoom. It'll be exactly the same. Your guests can be, which is great because people who said, oh, I can't do your show, I'm not in town. I'm like, hey, nobody's in town. Zoom. So every Tuesday, and yes, we are back. In fact, we just reran Dean Butler's. I just had on Lulu Roman from Hee Haw, who is amazing, and she has a book out and everything. And then Pamela Bob from Living on a Prairie is coming on Tuesday.
Fantastic. Who was your favorite guest you've had? Do you have a favorite?
Oh man, hard to, because I've had like everybody. I've had Tony Tennille and Marty Croft, and I've had like the most amazing people on. I've had everyone from Ruta Lee to like to the guy who does the voice of Invader Zim. I'm just like, oh, I have like Michael Learned was a hell of a guest. I gotta say, Lulu Roman was just mind blowing. It got really emotional, and she was crying and like talking about her life and her book. And I never thought Lulu Roman from Hee Haw would turn out to be like one of the more emotional, heavy interviews, but it's really good. They're all on there. You can look them up. Just amazing stuff. There's the author who wrote the book, Saved by the Mercy of a Rude Stream. I gotta go pull up his name in his book. A couple of authors I have had on. A guy who wrote about his mother who survived the concentration camps in World War II. And was almost killed, like more than one camp, like almost was murdered several times and still survived. And just really, really mind-blowing stories. Either authors who've written really incredible books. Well, you've seen my show, so the theme of the Alison Arngrim show is things that make you feel good. The people who made the movies and TV shows that made us feel good, and the people who are doing things now to make the world a better and more interesting place. So I have on like authors and actors. I guess we'll have Hollywood, like famous people, but I'll also have like really interesting artists and authors who are doing something really like unusually interesting and cool.
That's fantastic. Well, my last question of the day is, I've always wanted to know, you were doing Hollywood tours, Nasty Ellie's.
Yes.
What did you show people? What did you show people coming onto your tour?
And don't you think that we've been trying to figure out how to do the online virtual one, like have somebody drive around the thing with a camera and then have me and Richard who do the tour just come online and go, and on your left. We're like totally trying to figure out how to do this virtually. Yes, the Nellie tour, we would get in the van, 12 people, a very private tour van, and drive around. And we went by the Hollywood sign and talked about how Steve Tracy, who played Percival on Little House, his ashes are scattered under the D. We went to Michael Landon's house. We went to Liberace's house, and I talked about how my father managed Liberace. Of course, we went by Hollywood High and Bancroft Junior High and Gardner Elementary School. We went by all the places I lived. Like, here's where we lived. And we lived across the street from Liberace, and here's Quinn Cummings' house and everything. And it's stories from my life. And then famous landmarks, but it's like, oh, look, Hollywood High, but I went to school there. Paramount Studios, but that's where we shot Little House. And so we'd go to all of these famous landmarks, but I would have personalized stories because I like lived there or knew the people involved.
Nice. Well, I'll have to take it.
Only tour in Hollywood that stopped for ice cream. We would stop for milkshakes. We would go to the farmer's market and everyone got milkshakes.
That's worth the ticket right there.
Right, so we're trying to figure out how to do it because you can't cram 12 people into a sealed van right now. That would not be socially distanced. But we may wind up with a virtual version or some darn thing soon.
So I've got two things. What are you watching in this stay at home? And what is your favorite food you're eating at stay at home?
Pepperidge Farm goldfish. No, I'm eating like goldfish right now. I love goldfish. I'm eating everything. Well, first, for the first 2 weeks, it's like, let's eat everything. So kind of reining that in now, having the occasional salad like a normal person. Although I think I'm making chicken stir fry tonight with broccoli and carrots. I'm fine. I like food. I cook. Now that's another thing. It's been very hard on people who don't cook because you got to go out and get takeout. I can cook, so we can hold out here indefinitely because I can make stuff. So I'm eating everything, but I do love my goldfish. What am I watching? Well, let's see. We did watch all of the Picard Star Trek one and the new other Star Trek one, all that CBS All Access stuff. And then, Bob, what are we watching?
NCIS.
We like the old, the comfort food, the NCIS.
Nice.
And FBI, like all the cop shows. But yeah, we watched the Star Trek. Was it Discovery? Is the new one?
Yeah, Star Trek Discovery.
Discovery, and then the Picard one. The Picard thing was great.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
We like Maisel. We watch because we got Netflix, we got Amazon, we got Hulu. We have everything. We have like all the channels and so we're like, what do you want to watch? We got it all. We watched a really weird movie the other night, 13 Women with 1932 from 1932, and one of the 13 women, it's a murder mystery. It's very exciting. Is Peg Entwistle, who it's her one claim to fame, who is known mostly as the actress who threw herself off, the only suicide off the Hollywood sign. Peg Entwistle. You can act. She was very good. It's really sad that she threw herself off the sign because I finally saw her in this thing, 13 Women. It's like, she's great. What was the problem?
I don't know. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing chatting with you.
This is lovely. I ordered these online. I got tiki glasses because it's warming up. So I'm going to do some of my stuff outside. And I got a little Hawaiian music and some tiki cups and things so I can like set up and just have like a little mini luau in my yard and do videos from that. And then the cooking thing, because I do cook. I may be doing some cooking videos because that's fun.
Nice.
I like doing everything else.
I know. Me too. I've like 3 shows down, maybe 4 now. So who knows?
Right. And I thought when this started, I was so worried. I thought, well, this is terrible. I won't be doing anything. This will be so sad and depressing and terrible. And I'm checking in on my friends, and I've taken a few people toilet paper. I have a friend who doesn't have a laundry facility at his apartment. Ooh. And he is immune compromised. He cannot go to the laundromat. So I wash his clothes. I pick his stuff up, but I do his laundry. And I've taken some people groceries, and I check in and go, you okay? You okay? I've also turned on some other actors and performers who were like, I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm like, well, have you been to this website? And you can get this little lighting thing I got on Amazon, and trying to like hook them up with equipment, different platforms, so they can continue to do stuff.
See, that's the true Alison, the giver, the lover, the person who's caring about everyone. That's who I know.
It's just scary, and I have friends who got very, very sick with this stuff. Luckily, they got out of the hospital and they're like still breathing, but yikes.
Well, someone I knew passed away from it. So yes, it's very, very close.
And I have friends in New York, and they're just, it's horrendous there. And then also if they're socially distancing and staying home, I'm in California. So, oh, look, it's a house, there's a yard. But I have friends in New York, and they're in like very small apartments. It's like, oh, go out on the fire escape or the roof. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in his giant house. He has he has a donkey. Arnold Schwarzenegger's making videos. He's got like a pony and a donkey in his dining room. And I'm like, okay.
I feel so bad for him. He's living his rough life.
He's like, it's okay. I stay home. I have a donkey. And I'm like, I have a cat. I do not have a donkey.
I have a bunch of Charlie's Angels stuff. That's what I have.
You do. You have the Charlie's Angels stuff. That's good. So, I mean, are there Charlie's Angels comic books or novelizations of the series you can come on and read every day?
I was thinking that. I was thinking of actually reading the scripts from the show.
You should do it. Everyone's doing it. The Harry Potter cast, they're like reading the books. People are doing it. As I said, Sir Patrick Stewart is doing a sonnet today. And I flipped around. There's a bunch of people doing reading online, and some of this stuff is great. And some people are coming on and just going, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck in my house. And other people are hysterical. Have you seen Anthony Hopkins or Anthony Hopkins videos?
I have not. What is
He's bananas. He was dancing the other day.
Dancing?
dancing. He was dancing and just rambling, and he was talking to both Schwarzenegger and Stallone and doing impressions of them. And just like that, Anthony Hopkins has apparently gone completely mad, but he's making these hysterical videos on Twitter and TikTok and whatnot. He's great. So yeah, people are getting really creative. People are doing some amazing. People are making whole shows on Zoom. They're reading stuff. They're writing things. People are doing really the concerts, the musicals. Have you seen like the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles? They set up a Zoom thing. And, I mean, they have like a couple of hundred people in that thing. They got them all to tape their little part, and then they did with all the high-tech stuff so they could get the sound to be the same, and they virtual concert.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So people are doing it.
Us creative people, we'll make it. We'll create it. We'll do it. And you're doing it every day, entertaining, reading the book. It's amazing. And then, of course, I believe on Father's Day is the Actors Fund fundraiser reunion of Little House.
The launch of Living on a Prairie, and she's doing interviews with a bunch of the cast. I'm in Karen Grassley, Ma, and Dean Butler. A whole bunch of us are doing it. And then we're doing a thing. It's like a virtual fan cast reunion thing. And it's a benefit for the Actors Fund. So, because they've got a special fund they're doing to assist actors and people who've been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
That's great. You're fantastic. Tell everybody where they can watch you read your book and everything else you're doing.
All my things I'm doing. Yes, I am on Facebook Live on my page, Alison Arngrim, which is set to like follow in public, so you can go on there. The Alison Arngrim page every day at 1:30, although tomorrow is Baby Grace. And I read the Little House books. If you go on Amazon, my book, Confessions of Prairie Bitch, is available. And then I have a store. And it's on Square, the Square site. And it's Loose Gravel Productions on Square. But if you do like Google Alison Arngrim Square, I got books. I got bonnets. I got all kinds of cool stuff. I will autograph it. You get it autographed. If you buy it, I autograph it. And so I have that. And then on Facebook, it goes live at Tuesday at 5, the Alison Arngrim Show with the interviews. But then it rolls. It becomes a podcast. It's on every service you can get that has like Stitcher that has podcasts. You can have it there. So I have the show. I have the thing, and then Living on a Prairie is coming out, and I'm in that. And it's awesome. And then if you go to that thing Cameo, and you, for some reason, want me to like wish someone a happy birthday or say hi, I'm available. That's a thing you can also have.
Fantastic. Gosh, I hope you find something to do this week. My goodness.
Yeah, it's just nothing to do all day. Do. I've been doing my hair. I've been doing my nails, and
you look good. It looks good. I've been doing my hair. Yeah, there you go.
It's lovely. It's lovely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Everybody, thank you for watching the Mike Pingel Show today. Please like it, share it, and we'll see you next Thursday with a brand new guest. Who?
Awesome.
Who knows? Thank you, and be safe.
Wash your hands.
Yes, wash your hands.